Don't miss the awesome Naruto stories my sister creates. Her last channel was hacked, so to stay in the loop, please subscribe to her new channel. It would mean a lot to her, and you won't regret it. Dear Naruto Lemon fans, I'm inviting all of you to my Boosty channel. You know that YouTube doesn't exactly approve of this kind of content, so please subscribe to my paid subscription and enjoy Naruto Lemon scenes comfortably. There are different subscription tiers from Mini Lemon to God Lemon. Those who buy the Over Naruto Lemon and God Naruto Lemon, I'll mentions in the videos. Dare. This is my story. Naruto and Mahiru Shiina. The title of my story is Stars and Angels. Chapter 1: Unexpected Meeting. Konoha was immersed in the evening silence, when the last rays of the setting sun painted the sky in soft pink and gold hues. The stars, just beginning to twinkle in the night sky, illuminated the narrow streets and quiet squares, creating an atmosphere of peaceful peace. The moon, like an invisible witness of the world, dimly illuminated the bridge that Naruto Uzumaki was passing through. This evening was unusual. He was not in his usual combat gear, but dressed in a simple dark jacket and pants, as if trying to escape the oppression of everyday duties and the difficulties he had experienced. Naruto walked slowly, enjoying every step along the old stone bridge that spanned the river between the two sides of the city. The sound of the running water, which had previously been just a background for his thoughts, now seemed especially calming. His thoughts were immersed in memories of recent battles, sacrifices, and the hardships he had endured. This evening, he was seeking not so much physical as spiritual sanctuary. With each step Naruto took, he became more and more lost in his thoughts, and he didn't notice how a strange figure suddenly appeared in front of him. The warm light of the moon softly illuminated the figure sitting on the edge of the bridge, as if dreaming of something distant and invisible. A girl with long white hair that seemed to glow in the twilight sat looking at the water surface of the river, and her blue eyes were reflected in the water, like the moon on the surface of a lake. Naruto froze in place, his heart beating faster. At first he thought it might just be another ghostly figure from his dreams, but then, remembering reality, he slowly walked closer. "Hello," she said, without turning to face him. Her voice was soft and melodic, like the wind whispering through the leaves of the trees. It was full of warmth and tenderness, as if the evening itself had dressed him in a cozy scarf. Naruto, a little confused by the unexpected meeting, tried to find words. He didn't expect to meet someone at this time and place. "Hello," he finally answered, trying to hide his surprise. "Who are you?" The girl slowly turned her head towards him. Her eyes were full of not only bright interest, but also a slight sadness, as if she carried within her the history of many forgotten days. Her kind smile seemed both warm and sad at the same time, which immediately attracted Naruto's attention. "My name is Mahiru Shiina," she introduced herself, her voice like spring rain that seeps into the deepest corners of the heart. "I came to this city to find a place where I can bring some light. I think I've found it in you." Naruto was taken aback by these words. He was not prepared for such a revelation from a stranger, especially at a time when his own heart was full of shadows and doubts. He looked at her with confusion, but an inner feeling made him feel that her words had a deep meaning. "I'm Naruto. What do you do to bring light?" he asked, trying to hide his surprise. Mahiru closed her eyes for a moment, as if collecting her thoughts, and then looked at him again, her gaze calm and penetrating. "I am an angel sent to help people," she began, her voice like a water surface, creating ripples with each word. "I have been looking for those who need help and support. Apparently, I have found someone who needs my presence." Naruto was struck by her frankness and unusualness. There were many people in his life, but none of them could say something like that. Mahiru's words, full of warmth and sincerity, touched his heart deeper than he could have imagined. It was not just a meeting, it was like meeting a part of himself that he had long lost and which he was now finding again. "Why me?" he couldn't help but ask, his voice full of genuine interest and a little wariness. Mahiru leaned back a little, her gaze once again looking into the darkness of the night, as if she was searching for answers there. "I feel that there is a great pain in your heart that you are trying to hide. It is my duty to be there for those who need support. And it seems that right now it is you." Those words, spoken with such tenderness and understanding, as if they were torn from the depths of her soul, made Naruto freeze. He felt his general state suddenly sharpen, and he began to understand that this meeting was not a coincidence. There was something more here than just a chance collision of two paths. "Can you help me?" he said, not knowing where the question came from, but it was sincere. Mahiru looked at him with a kind smile, and her eyes were filled with a light that seemed sincere and warm. "I'm not here just to help. I'm here to go through these trials with you. We can start with a simple conversation, if you're ready." Naruto nodded and they both sat down on the edge of the bridge, sitting on the cold stone that was covered with the freshness of the night. Immersed in the silence of the night, they began to talk, and with each word an invisible but strong connection was built between them that promised to become something more. The moon continued to shine above them, its soft light creating an atmosphere of comfort and peace. That evening, Naruto felt like he had found something he had been looking for a long time, a quiet haven amidst the storms of his life. And who knew that this meeting would be the beginning of something new and unusual? Thus began their story, a story of stars and angels, of how two destinies can cross paths at the most unexpected moment, when they least expect it. Chapter 2, Friendship and Secret Meetings. A few days passed after that first meeting on the bridge, and Naruto and Mahiru began to see each other regularly. Each meeting was like an island of calm in the stormy sea of his life. When Naruto was next to Mahiru, he felt the weight of his worries and fears recede, like a fresh wind dispersing the clouds. One warm spring day, they met in Konoha's park, which was filled with the scent of blossoming trees. Bright flowers of various shades created a picturesque landscape, where green leaves covered with dew glistened in the sun, and birds chirped joyfully in the branches. The sun's rays broke through the foliage, creating magical stripes of light and shadow on the ground, as if they themselves were drawing the path for their walk. Naruto and Mahiru walked along a path strewn with cherry blossom petals that fluttered cheerfully in the air with every step. The wind gently stirred her white hair, and it seemed to dance to the rhythm of the wind, creating a sight that was mesmerizing. Naruto found himself thinking that he was becoming more accustomed to her presence, and his heart yearned for these moments of silence and simplicity. "Have you ever thought about what you want to do in the future?" Mahiru asked, her voice like a quiet stream of water that carries thoughts along with it. Naruto slowed down a bit, lowering his head to get a better look at the path in front of him. Flower petals, tripped by the wind, landed on his shoes, and he involuntarily rubbed them on the ground. "I always dreamed of becoming Hokage," he began, his voice serious, but with a hint of dreaminess. "It was more than just a title for me. It was a desire to protect my friends and my people, to make sure that everyone could live in peace and happiness. But now I understand that my mission is much broader. Being Hokage means serving the entire village and protecting it from danger. And to do that, you need to be strong not only physically, but also mentally." Mahiru listened to him with genuine interest, her eyes shining with understanding and sympathy. She could see in his words not just the desire for a position, but also the real internal struggle that was part of his journey. "Your dream is great and noble," she said with a gentle smile. "But how do you find the strength to continue, despite all the difficulties?" Naruto thought, his gaze meeting hers. In her eyes he saw the warmth and support he had been searching for so long. "Sometimes you just want a place to be yourself," he replied, looking up at her sunlit face. "A place where you're understood. In that sense, you've become that place for me." Mahiru smiled, her eyes sparkling with happiness and peace. She stopped and sat down on the grass, pulling him along with her. Naruto sat down next to her, and they both felt the connection between them grow even stronger. "I'm glad I can be that place for you," she said, her voice like a gentle breeze touching her skin. "I have a place in my life for such encounters, too. I've been looking for those who need help and support, and now I've found you. There's a special purpose in this." The evening sun was slowly sinking below the horizon, painting the sky in deep shades of orange and purple. The light softly diffused across the park, creating a magical atmosphere that made their conversation seem even more intimate and meaningful. "When I was a child," Mahiru continued, her voice like a quiet story from the distant past, "I always dreamed of helping people. I always felt like my path was to serve others, not just exist for myself. I watched people and looked for ways to make their lives better. And now that I've found you, I feel like that mission really has meaning." Naruto looked at her as if he saw his own aspirations and dreams reflected in her. He felt that these conversations were not just an exchange of words, but a real dialogue of souls. "What brought you to Konoha?" he asked, looking at her face, full of thoughtfulness and inner light. Mahiru thought for a moment, her eyes looking away as if she was looking for an answer there. "I felt that here in Konoha I could find those who needed my presence," she said, her voice full of deep thought. "I was looking for a place where I could support and inspire people. Your story, your dreams, all of this opened up a new path for me." The evening went on and they sat on the grass under the trees, surrounded by the tranquility of the park and the silence of the night. Their conversations were simple, but full of sincerity and mutual understanding. Naruto told Mahiru about his friends, how he trained to become stronger, about his victories and defeats. Mahiru shared stories from her life with him, describing her dreams and expectations. "I love hearing about your friends and your experiences," she said, her eyes shining with inner warmth. "It's as if I could be a part of your life, even if only for a short time. And that's what makes our meetings so valuable." Naruto smiled, his heart full of gratitude and warmth for her words. He felt like his life was starting to change, and that these changes were not caused by just meeting each other, but by something bigger that connected their souls. "I'm glad you're here," he said, looking at her sincerely. "You've helped me see the world differently. And I hope I can be as supportive a friend to you as you've been to me." Mahiru touched his hand, her touch light, like a breeze that brings coolness on a hot day. "I believe it will be so," she said, her voice full of confidence and hope. "Our acquaintance is the beginning of something new. Let us use this time to understand each other and support each other in our paths." They sat under the trees, watching the night slowly cover the world, and felt like their friendship was just beginning. The night was full of promise and possibility, and they were ready to walk this new path that was opening up before them together. Chapter 3: The Secrets of Mahiru. Several weeks had passed since Naruto had learned of Mahiru Shin's true nature. Their friendship had deepened, and each of their interactions had become more meaningful. They continued to meet daily, spending time talking and walking through the picturesque streets of Konoha. But even though Naruto had become accustomed to her presence, something about Mahiru's demeanor began to bother him. He noticed that her eyes sometimes radiated a soft blue light, and her mood began to fluctuate between joy and deep seriousness. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky in warm orange hues, Naruto decided it was time to learn more about her secret. They were walking through a park surrounded by green trees blooming in late spring. A light breeze rustled the leaves, creating a melodious whisper that emphasized the atmosphere of silence and comfort. "Mahiru," Naruto began cautiously, "I noticed that you've been acting a little strange. Is there something you haven't told me until now?" Mahiru stopped and looked at him with a soft smile. The soft light of the evening sun played on her white hair, creating the appearance of a glow around her. "Yes, there is something I haven't told you," she replied, her voice filled with seriousness. "But before I continue, I want you to know that this may change the way you perceive me. Naruto nodded, his gaze full of determination. I'm ready. Tell me everything you want. I trust you. Mahiru sighed, her gaze becoming deep and thoughtful, as if she was about to share not just information, but a part of her soul. Actually, I'm not just an angel. I come from a world where we help people on Earth, but I'm not alone here. She paused, and her eyes filled with that soft blue light again. There are angels in this world who carry out their missions, and my ally here is Elizabeth from the angel world. Naruto was stunned. A picture of another world filled with creatures he had never thought about appeared in his mind. Elizabeth? I didn't know you had an ally. Where is she now? His voice was full of curiosity and anticipation. Mahiru looked at him with a slight smile. She is here in Konoha, but not in the same way as I am. She supports us from afar, observing the situation and ready to come to our aid if necessary. She has great strength and wisdom, and her presence helps me in my mission. As soon as she said those words, the sky suddenly glowed with a mysterious light. Naruto and Mahiru looked up, and there, against the night sky, they saw a figure with white wings slowly descending towards them. It's her, Mahiru said, her voice full of respect and excitement. It's Elizabeth. Elizabeth, dressed in a snow-white gown, with majestic wings on her back, landed before them. Her presence was enveloped in a light that illuminated the night, as if the moon itself had come to visit them. Greetings, Mahiru and Naruto, her voice was melodious and kind, like music. I am Elizabeth, an angel from the world of heaven. I have to talk to you about what is coming to our world. Naruto looked at her in surprise. In her eyes he saw softness and strength that spoke of her important role in this world. I am Naruto Uzumaki, he said, his voice full of respect. How may I help you? Elizabeth sat down on the grass next to them, her wings spread out as if they were part of her being. She looked at Naruto with a small smile. Our worlds are connected more deeply than you can imagine, Naruto. Our mission is not only to maintain the light in this world, but to prevent the darkness that could consume everything. I am here to tell you of the coming threat and how we can stop it together. Mahiru nodded, her gaze full of support. Speak, Elizabeth. We are ready to hear everything we need to know. Elizabeth began to talk about the dark forces that were beginning to threaten both worlds. She explained that in her world, there was an ancient threat, an ancient villain who had awakened from his slumber and was planning to infiltrate the human world to spread chaos and destruction. There is an evil entity in our world called the darkness of heaven. It has awakened and is looking for a way to cross the boundaries between our worlds. We must combine our powers to stop it before its influence reaches Earth and Konoha. Naruto listened carefully, his mind focused on what Elizabeth was saying. He felt that this could be a new challenge for him, but also an opportunity to show his strength and determination. How can we help in this fight? Naruto asked, his voice full of determination. Elizabeth looked at him with approval. Your strength and your determination will be important in this test, Naruto. We need to find an ancient artifact that can close the darkness of heaven's path back to her world and prevent her plans. The artifact is located in an ancient temple hidden in the mountains north of Konoha. Mahiru added, her voice full of determination and faith in their strength. We will accompany you on this journey, Naruto. Together, we can overcome any danger. Naruto nodded, his eyes shining with determination. I'm ready. Let's start preparing for our journey. The night continued to envelop Konoha in its quiet light, and the three friends prepared for the new adventure that lay ahead of them. Ahead of them lay a path full of trials and dangers, but together they were ready to face any evil and protect the light that they sought. Chapter 4: The First Battle. Konoha was immersed in the calm of the evening. The dense green forest around the village was enveloped in the soft light of the setting sun, and the evening breeze rustled the leaves of the trees, creating a melodious whisper. Naruto Uzumaki and Mahiru Shiina sat on the grass under an ancient tree, enjoying the moment of silence before the night fell. "I'm glad we have time to rest," Mahiru said, her eyes sparkling with calm. "These days have been full of reflection and preparation for the journey ahead." Naruto nodded, his gaze focused on the evening sky where the stars were beginning to twinkle, creating a breathtaking sight. "Yes, I am also glad that we can spend time together before starting our new adventure," he replied. "But I feel that we need to be prepared for anything. Dangers can await us at any moment." As if Naruto's words were a prophecy, a group of people suddenly appeared on the horizon, moving towards Konoha. There was something ominous about their actions, and their steps were full of determination. Naruto became wary, and his ninja instincts began to sound the alarm. "Mahiru, look at this," Naruto said, pointing at the approaching people. "It looks like we have a problem." Mahiru looked towards the horizon, her blue eyes instantly becoming serious. "These are bandits," she said, her voice full of alarm. "They're not just random troublemakers. Their intentions are clearly evil." Naruto stood up, ready for action. "We must do something to protect the village. I am ready to fight, but I need your help." Mahiru stood next to him, her face reflecting determination. "I will help you as much as I can. My heavenly powers may be the key to our victory in this battle." Just as they were preparing to defend the village, the bandits approached Konoha's main gate. Their leader, a fearsome-looking man in forged armor, stood at the front, his eyes blazing with the desire to destroy. "We have come to show you that we are a force to be reckoned with," he shouted, his voice like a bolt from the blue. Naruto and Mahiru looked at each other and Naruto nodded in agreement. They moved forward to face the threat, ready to join forces. The battle has begun. Naruto was the first to charge into battle, activating his ninja techniques. He released the Rasengan, which violently destroyed a row of bandits, forcing them to retreat. His movements were fast and precise, each strike and attack aimed at neutralizing the enemies as quickly as possible. Mahiru stood behind Naruto, her hands performing magical gestures. She was erecting a heavenly barrier around Konoha, protecting the village from attacks. Her powers created an invisible defense that repelled attacks and protected innocent villagers. "Look! It's an angel," one of the bandits shouted when he saw Mahiru's glow. "We've got problems." Some of the bandits tried to break through the barriers, but Mahiru easily reinforced the defenses, blocking their attacks. She also used light beams to heal the wounded who needed help. "Naruto, go!" she shouted as one of the bandits tried to strike her from behind. "I've got them at bay, use your powers to defeat them." Naruto responded with a strike from his shadow clone, who leapt out from the shadows to attack the enemies. With each new attack, his strength and determination grew, his strikes carrying power and precision. The epicenter of the battle. In the center of the battle, the leader of the bandits watched the scene with envy and rage. He saw his men begin to retreat under Naruto's onslaught and Mahiru's protection. In his hands appeared a huge sword, blazing with dark energy. "I must do something to change the course of the battle," he cried, clutching his sword. "I will not let you ruin our plans." He stepped forward, his sword emitting an ominous shadow that was ready to devour everything in its path. He headed straight for Mahiru, seeing her as the main threat. "Mahiru, watch out!" Naruto shouted as he saw the leader moving towards her position. Mahiru took a fighting stance, her arms raised to create a protective barrier. However, the leader's attack was so powerful that she was forced to focus on defense to avoid being destroyed. Fight with the leader. Naruto, meanwhile, fought the rest of the bandits, tearing through their ranks with his Rasengan and powerful shadow clones. Each strike was precise and devastating, and he fought his way through the enemy lines to get to the leader. When he finally reached the leader, he was engrossed in a fight with Mahiru. Naruto quickly reacted, his fists flaring with chakra energy. "I won't let you hurt people," Naruto said, approaching the leader with determination in his eyes. the leader turned around, his sword flying through the air. He fought Naruto, and their attack and defense was a spectacular clash of two powerful forces. "You think you can stop me?" he shouted, swinging his sword, which Naruto was able to block with his shinobi technique. Naruto used Rasengan, aiming it at the center of the leader's attack. The light and energy clashed with the dark power of the sword, and in a massive explosion, the leader was thrown back, his power destroyed. End of the fight. While Naruto and the leader fought, Mahiru regained her strength and continued to maintain the village's defense. When the leader fell, she focused her powers on neutralizing the remaining bandits, creating blasts of light that blinded and distracted them. Finally, the bandits, seeing that their leader was defeated and their attacks were ineffective, began to retreat. They fled into the forest, leaving Konoha safe. Naruto and Mahiru stood on the battlefield, tired but happy. The sun was setting, and the evening light illuminated their faces, reflecting a sense of victory and relief. "We did it," Naruto said, breathing heavily but with a proud smile. Mahiru smiled, her eyes shining with satisfaction. "Yes, we did it. Your strength and courage helped us achieve victory." Naruto looked at Mahiru, his gaze full of gratitude. "And your help was irreplaceable. I could not have managed without your heavenly powers." Mahiru bowed her head, her face full of respect. "We acted as a team, and that was our biggest advantage." At that moment, Elizabeth approached them, her wings fluttering gently in the wind. She was amazed at how Naruto and Mahiru worked together. "You have done a wonderful job," she said, her voice a quiet blessing. "Your unity and strength have saved the village from danger." Naruto and Mahiru exchanged glances, realizing that this was only the beginning of their journey. "Thank you, Elizabeth," Naruto replied, "we are ready for what lies ahead." Elizabeth nodded, her eyes full of hope. "There are many challenges ahead, but I believe that together you can overcome any threat. Rest today, tomorrow we will begin to prepare for our great journey." Night had settled over Konoha, and the three friends headed to the village, ready to rest before the next stage of their journey. Chapter 5: Confessing Feelings. Several days had passed since Naruto and Mahiru had fought together against the bandits that had threatened Konoha. The village had recovered from the attack, and the villagers had once again filled the streets with the joyful sounds of everyday life. But for Naruto and Mahiru, this victory was more than just getting rid of a threat. It was the beginning of a new stage in their relationship. An evening walk. One evening, as the sun slowly sank below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Naruto and Mahiru decided to take a stroll through the blooming streets of Konoha. The sakura trees were in full bloom, and their pink flowers covered the sidewalks, creating a soft carpet of petals under their feet. They walked along the ancient bridge, which they had crossed many times during their meetings. But today, the bridge looked especially magical. The evening light cast shadows that danced on the water, and the calmness enveloped them with its soft touch. "Mahiru," Naruto began, his voice quiet and full of excitement, "I wanted to talk to you about something important." Mahiru turned to face him, her blue eyes sparkling with interest and understanding. "Of course, Naruto. What's the matter?" They stopped in the center of the bridge, where they could admire the view of the sparkling waters of the river and the blooming garden on the bank. Recognition of feelings. Naruto took a deep breath, trying to gather his thoughts. His heart was beating faster than usual, and he felt the words struggling to get out of his chest. "After we fought together, I realized that I felt more than just friendship for you," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. "Mahiru, I fell in love with you. You became a source of light and hope for me. When I was with you, I felt like I could be myself, that there was someone who understood and supported me." Mahiru froze for a moment, her eyes widening in surprise before they filled with tenderness and warmth. She took a step forward, her hands slowly reaching out to Naruto. "Naruto, I want to tell you something too." Her voice was soft and trembling, like a gentle breeze running through the flowering trees. I have the same feelings for you. From the moment we first met, I felt like you were the one I was looking for. You became an important person to me, and I fell in love with you too. Mahiru's words were like balm to Naruto's soul, and he felt his heart fill with joy and relief. He slowly reached out to her and they embraced under the cherry blossoms, their bodies touching in a warm and sincere closeness. Hug under the cherry blossoms. The delicate scent of sakura filled the air around them, and they stood in each other's arms, surrounded by a cloud of pink petals. A gentle breeze stirred the flowers, and they touched their hair and clothes, creating an atmosphere of romantic seclusion. I can't express how much these words mean to me, Naruto said, his voice full of tenderness and gratitude. I've always strived for my goal, but now I realize that I have something more than just a dream. I have you. Mahiru raised her head, her eyes meeting his, filled with genuine happiness. We both found each other in this huge world, and I believe that together we can overcome any difficulties, she said, her voice like a soft melody. I'm glad that I can be next to you and support you. They continued to stand in an embrace, and Naruto felt all the weight of the last trials dissolve in this moment of peace and happiness. He gently ran his hand down her back, his palm feeling the warmth of her body and the calming rhythm of her heart. Night landscape. The night had covered Konoha with its dark blanket, and the stars were starting to shine brighter than ever. The moon was shining over the bridge, creating a golden glow on the surface of the water, adding a magical touch to their romantic moment. Mahiru and Naruto looked up at the stars, their gaze directed upwards, and they saw the lights in the sky twinkling against the dark background of the night. You know, Mahiru said, her voice full of dreamy notes, I've always thought that the stars are messages from the heavens, reminders that there's more to us than what we see every day. Naruto smiled, his eyes full of light and love. Yes, and I think that our confession to each other can also be considered such a message. A message of hope and new life. Mahiru nodded, her smile like a ray of light in the night. We will start a new chapter together, and I believe it will be full of joy and adventure. Naruto hugged her again and they continued to stand in silence, enjoying the moment of mutual understanding and closeness. The sky above them was like a sign of their new connection, and the world around them was ready to accept their future together. Sunset. Time passed and they returned to the cherry blossoms where they sat under the tree, resting after confessing their feelings. The silence was full of harmony and they both felt that this moment would be a milestone for them. We need to move forward, Naruto said, his voice full of determination and hope. There are many trials ahead, but I am willing to go through them for us. Mahiru looked at him with love and determination. Yes, we will go together. And I am sure that our future will be bright, despite any difficulties. They sat in silence, enjoying their new state and preparing for the adventures that lay ahead. Chapter 6, Future Plans. A few days had passed since their confession of their feelings, and Naruto and Mahiru spent time together, exploring Konoha and discussing everything that was on their minds. Their relationship was growing deeper, and every moment they spent together strengthened their bond. Tonight was special, as they decided to discuss their dreams and plans for the future. Evening in a quiet corner. That evening they chose a quiet spot in the garden by the river. It was a small but cozy corner, surrounded by green trees and flowering bushes. The evening air was cool, but not too cold, and a light breeze rustled the leaves, creating a pleasant whisper. They settled down on the soft grass, sitting opposite each other, and Naruto pulled out a small blanket that they spread out under a tree to make their evening even more comfortable. The moon was in full glory, lighting up their faces, and the stars in the night sky created a calming backdrop. Talking about dreams. Naruto looked at Mahiru, his eyes glowing with inner fire and determination. Mahiru, he began, now that we've become closer, I want to tell you about my dreams and plans for the future. I want to become Hokage and create a world where people are happy and can live in peace. Mahiru listened to him attentively, her eyes expressing genuine interest and support. "That is a very noble goal, Naruto," she said, her voice full of respect and admiration. "And what exactly do you wish to do to achieve that goal?" "Plans and dreams." Naruto thought for a moment, his gaze focused on the stars as if he was looking for answers there. "I want to unite all shinobi," he said. "I want to create a world where there are no conflicts and wars. For all the villages to work together, support each other, and protect the weak. I believe that this is possible if we work together and believe in a better future." Mahiru nodded, her eyes shining with approval. "That is truly a wonderful dream, Naruto. I believe that you can achieve it if you follow your path with the same determination and tenacity as you do now." Naruto turned to face her, his gaze full of gratitude. "What about you, Mahiru? What are your dreams and goals?" Mahiru's dreams. Mahiru looked at Naruto with a smile, her eyes glowing with inner warmth. "My mission as an angel is to bring light and hope to the world. I want to continue my work, helping people and supporting them in difficult times. But now that I have met you, I understand that I can be a part of something bigger." Naruto listened carefully to her words, and his heart filled with joy that their dreams and goals echoed. "I'm glad I can be a part of your journey, Mahiru," he said. "Together, we can create light and hope not only for Konoha, but for the entire world." Mahiru reached out to Naruto, her hand resting on his and their fingers intertwined, feeling mutual support and warmth. "Yes, together we can make the world a better place. We can support each other and move towards our goals together." Future plans. They continued to talk about the future, discussing their plans and dreams. They talked about how they would support each other during difficult times and how they would help each other achieve their goals. "When you become Hokage," Mahiru said, "I will be by your side to help you and support your endeavors." Naruto smiled, his heart filled with happiness. "And I will always be by your side, Mahiru. You are my light and my hope, and I am ready to do everything to support you in your mission." They sat in silence, enjoying their unity and closeness. The moon, the stars, and the quiet whisper of the river created an atmosphere of calm and harmony. Heartfelt promises. As time went on, they continued to discuss their ideas for the future, making plans and promises to each other. Their conversations were filled with hope and optimism, and they both felt that their bond had become even stronger. "I believe in us," Naruto said, his voice full of confidence and determination. "Together, we can reach any heights and overcome any challenges." Mahiru looked at him with love and faith. "Yes, together we can overcome any difficulties and create the world we dream of." They embraced, and this moment became a symbol of their future together. The moon and stars above them reminded them that their dreams and goals were like a bright path in a dark world. Sunset and inspiration. As the night faded and the morning began to break over the horizon, Naruto and Mahiru rose from the grass and headed towards their homes, filled with determination and inspiration. They knew their journey was just beginning, but they were ready to walk together, hand in hand, towards the future. They said goodbye at the gate, and looking at each other, both felt their hearts beating in unison with the dreams and hopes they shared. "See you tomorrow, Naruto," Mahiru said, her voice full of tenderness and anticipation. "See you tomorrow, Mahiru," Naruto replied, his gaze full of love and determination. Farewell under the morning sky. They went their separate ways, each heading to their own part of the world, but their hearts were connected by an invisible thread that would guide them along the path to their dreams and goals. The morning light shone upon Konoha, and they both knew that their future would be bright and full of new possibilities. Chapter 7, New Threats. After Naruto and Mahiru discussed their dreams and goals, they enjoyed moments of peace and happiness. However, the tranquility of their lives was shattered by new threats that loomed over Konoha. The threat of impending disasters forced them to gather themselves once again and act. Disturbing news. One morning, Just as the sun's rays were beginning to break through the clouds, Naruto and Mahiru received an urgent message from Sarutobi Hatake, the Hokage. The message spoke of a new threat to Konoha, a dark organization known as the Shadows of Destiny. This organization was preparing a large-scale attack on the village, and their goal was clear: to destroy the world and subjugate all shinobi to their dark plans. Sitting in the Hokage's office, Naruto and Mahiru carefully studied the map that marked the enemy's strategic positions. "We must act now," Naruto said, his voice full of determination. "If we don't stop them now, they could destroy everything we've worked so hard to build." Mahiru nodded, her face serious and focused. "We need to pool the strength of everyone who is willing to help," she said. "We must prepare for battle and create a strategy that will allow us to defeat the Shadows of Destiny." Team gathering. Naruto and Mahiru traveled to different parts of Konoha to gather their friends and allies. They began by looking for those who could be of the greatest help in the upcoming battle. Naruto was the first to visit his old friends, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. "Sasuke, Sakura," he began, "we need your help. There is danger coming to Konoha. The Shadow of Destiny organization is planning an attack on the village, and we need to combine our forces to protect our home." Sasuke and Sakura exchanged glances, realizing the seriousness of the situation. "We're with you, Naruto," Sasuke said, his voice determined. "If there's a threat, we'll fight to the end." Sakura added. "We are ready to help. What are our plans?" Naruto explained that their job was not only to protect Konoha, but also to organize a counterattack to prevent the enemy from breaking through to the center of the village. "We will act in 3 stages," he said. "First, we must strengthen the defensive barriers around the village. Second, we must organize groups to guard key points. And third, we must strike at the enemy's main forces to disrupt their plans." Mahiru joined them, and her presence added confidence to their strength. "I will use my celestial powers to strengthen the barriers and protect our allies," she said. "My job is to create protective barriers and support you in battle." Strategy planning. After gathering their main allies, Naruto, Mahiru, Sasuke, and Sakura gathered in the meeting room to formulate a detailed plan of action. They placed maps and strategies on a large table, discussing every step of the upcoming battle. "Our barriers should cover all the important areas of the village," Naruto began, pointing to the map. "Sakura, you and Sasuke will be in charge of protecting the main gates and the main entrances to the village." Sakura nodded, her face filled with determination. "We will make sure that the enemies cannot break through," she said. "Mahiru," Naruto continued, "your job is to create protective barriers around key objects and support us in battle. Can you create protective circles and heal the wounded?" Mahiru nodded. "Yes, I can create protective barriers and use my healing powers to help you in battle." Preparing for battle. While Naruto and his friends were busy preparing, Mahiru went to the temple to receive blessings for her mission. She prayed and asked the heavenly powers for help and protection for Konoha. "Please help us deal with this threat," she whispered, her voice full of sincerity. "Give us the strength and wisdom to protect this world and keep its light alive." After Mahiru finished her prayers, she returned to Naruto and the others. They were gathered in the field in front of Konoha, where preparations for the upcoming battle had already begun. Home paint. That evening, as fog began to creep over the village, the Shadows of Destiny approached Konoha. Their army was numerous, and they moved with a clear goal: to destroy everything in their path. Naruto and his team were ready. Mahiru raised her hands to the sky, and her light energies enveloped the village in protective barriers. Sakura and Sasuke took their positions at the gates, ready to meet the enemy. "Let's begin the fight," Naruto said, his voice firm and determined. "Protect Konoha." The battle began. The enemies began to advance, and Naruto rushed into battle alongside Sasuke and Sakura, defending the village and fighting off the hordes of enemies. Mahiru, focused and full of energy, used her heavenly powers to create protective barriers and aid her allies. Battle for Konoha. In the battle, Naruto showed his fighting skills and strategic thinking, commanding his allies and repelling the enemy's attacks. Sasuke used his Utsu powers and fire techniques to hold back the enemy's onslaught, and Sakura showed outstanding abilities in defense and support of the team. Mahiru, using light magic, strengthened the barriers and helped those who were injured in the battle. Her powers healed many of those who fought, and her protection helped keep the enemies at bay. "We can't let them get through," Naruto shouted as he fought the leader of the Shadows of Destiny. "For Konoha. For our home." Mahiru rushed towards Naruto, her magic boosting his attacks, and together they managed to defeat the main enemy. In the end, the coordinated efforts of Naruto, Mahiru, Sasuke and Sakura led to victory over the Shadows of Destiny. After battle. With the battle over and the enemy defeated, Konoha began to recover from its ordeal. Naruto and his team stood amidst the destruction, their hearts filled with pride for having been able to protect their home. Mahiru walked up to Naruto, her face tired but full of satisfaction. "We did it," she said, her voice quiet but full of confidence. Naruto smiled, his eyes glowing with an inner light. "Yes, we did it. But there is still much work ahead. We need to restore what was destroyed and continue our mission to create peace." Sakura and Sasuke walked up to them, their faces were also full of fatigue, but they were proud that they were able to help in this fight. "We are ready to continue working to rebuild the village," Sakura said. "We will all work together to make Konoha stronger." Recovery and hope. Naruto, Mahiru, and their friends returned to rebuilding Konoha. They worked together to repair the destroyed buildings and help those who suffered in the battle. Their combined efforts strengthened their bonds and proved that they could overcome any challenge. Conclusion of the chapter. That night, as the moon rose over Konoha once again and the stars lit up the sky, Naruto and Mahiru sat under the cherry blossoms, enjoying a moment of peace and quiet. "We won," Naruto said, his voice full of weariness and satisfaction. "But we still have a lot of work to do." Mahiru hugged him, her face full of hope and faith in the future. "Yes, we have a lot of work to do, but together we can make the world a better place." They sat in silence, feeling calm after the battle and believing in the bright future they would build together. Chapter 8, Traveling the World. After their victory over the Shadows of Fate and the restoration of Konoha, Naruto and Mahiru felt that it was time for a new stage in their lives. They decided to leave their daily worries behind and travel the world to explore new places, help those in need, and strengthen their relationship. The beginning of the journey. One early morning, as the first rays of the sun touched the horizon, Naruto and Mahiru gathered at the gates of Konoha, ready to set out on their new adventure. They stood next to their travel bags, filled with the necessary things for the journey. The sun shone on their faces, reminding them of the beginning of a new journey. "This is our new adventure," Mahiru said with a smile, her blue eyes shining with joy. "We're going on a journey around the world to explore new places and help those who need our help." Naruto nodded, his face showing determination and excitement for the upcoming discoveries. "I'm ready. Let's do it. We'll see the world and learn a lot. But the main thing is that we'll be together, and that's the most important thing." First city, Suzaku. Their journey began in the city of Suzaku, a small but picturesque place known for its temples and green gardens. Suzaku was surrounded by forests and mountain ranges, and its people were friendly and hospitable. When Naruto and Mahiru arrived in Suzaku, they immediately felt the atmosphere of calm and peace that enveloped the city. "Look at this temple," Mahiru said, pointing to the majestic structure with its ornate carved roofs and noble columns. "Let's go inside and see what it can tell us." They entered the temple and were amazed by its beauty and peaceful atmosphere. The temple was decorated with exquisite frescoes and statues, and the air was filled with the scent of incense. They met an old monk who told them about the ancient traditions and rituals of Suzaku. The monk showed them ancient manuscripts and shared stories about his ancestors who once protected the world from dark forces. "Your presence here is like a light in the darkness," the monk said with a kind smile. "We are glad to see you in our temple. Perhaps you too can bring light to the world, as we try to do here." Mahiru thanked the monk and they continued their journey around the city, exploring markets and enjoying local cuisine. They visited cozy tea houses where they tried aromatic green tea and sweet cakes made according to ancient recipes. Help for residents. In Suzaku, they met people who needed help. One of the local farmers told them about the problems with pests destroying his crops. "My fields are under threat," the farmer said, his voice full of worry. "If I don't find a way to get rid of these pests, I'll lose my entire crop." Mahiru and Naruto decided to help a farmer. Mahiru used her celestial powers to create protective barriers around the fields and clear them of pests. Naruto helped in harvesting and protecting the crops using his fighting skills and knowledge of agriculture. "Thank you," said the farmer when the work was done. "You have done more than I could have asked. I thank you from the bottom of my heart." Mahiru and Naruto thanked the farmer for his hospitality and continued their journey, heading to the next town. Second city, Lyra. The next place they visited was the city of Lyra, located on the banks of a large river. Lyra was famous for its art workshops and craft shops. The city was known for its colorful carnival celebrations and unique crafts. In Lyra, Naruto and Mahiru immersed themselves in an atmosphere of celebration and creativity. They visited the workshops of local artists who created amazing paintings and sculptures. They saw how craftsmen create ceramics and textiles, and were also able to try their hand at some of the crafts. "This city is full of inspiration," Mahiru said as she watched the artwork being created. "I think there's something for everyone here." They attended carnival events where they took part in dances and games. In one of the theaters they watched a performance about ancient heroes and legends of Lyra, which was not only entertaining but also educational. Help for an art critic. In Lyra they met an old art historian who told them about the problems with preserving ancient works of art. "My research helps preserve Lyra's cultural heritage," the art historian said. "But many works of art and artifacts need restoration and protection." Mahiru and Naruto decided to help the art historian with his work. Mahiru used her celestial powers to cleanse ancient artifacts of impurities and restore their original beauty. Naruto helped restore the destroyed works of art and organized exhibitions to show them to locals. "I am in your debt," said the art critic when the work was completed. "Your help was invaluable. Thank you." Mahiru and Naruto thanked the art historian for his work and continued their journey, leaving Lyra with new knowledge and impressions. Third city, Kasumi. Their next destination was the city of Kasumi, famous for its magnificent waterfalls and natural beauty. The city was located in a picturesque area surrounded by green hills and a river washing its banks. In Kasumi, Naruto and Mahiru went on an excursion to the waterfalls, which were one of the main attractions of the city. They spent time in nature, enjoying the clean air and magnificent views. "It's so peaceful and beautiful here," Mahiru said, standing at the foot of the waterfall and listening to the sound of falling water. "I feel like this place is filled with the magic of nature." Naruto nodded, feeling in harmony with nature. "Yes, it is a really amazing place. I am glad that we can spend some time here." They went for a walk around the area, exploring the local forests and mountain trails. They found many interesting places, such as hidden lakes and ancient ruins, and enjoyed every moment of their trip. Help for travelers. In Kasumi, they met a group of travelers who were lost in the forest and needed help. "We are lost and cannot find our way back to the city," one of the travelers said. "Please help us get back." Mahiru and Naruto offered their help, Mahiru using her celestial powers to create light trails leading to the city, and Naruto helping the travelers return to safety. "Thank you for your help," said one of the travelers when they returned to the city. We would have been lost without you. Mahiru and Naruto thanked them for their warm welcome and continued their journey, heading to the next town. Talking about the future. In the evening, after a long day of traveling and adventuring, Naruto and Mahiru sat by the fire, enjoying the peace and beauty of the night sky. The stars twinkled above them, and the moon lit up their faces. I'm glad we're on this journey together, Naruto said, looking at the fire. This journey has taught us a lot and shown us what we can do together. Mahiru smiled, her eyes glowing with an inner light. Yes, it was a wonderful journey. I am proud to be with you and help people in need. But what next? Naruto thought for a moment, considering the future. Our journey is just beginning, he said. We will see many new places and meet many new people. But I am confident that our future will be bright and full of hope. Mahiru nodded, her gaze full of determination. Yes, together we can overcome any difficulties and make the world a better place. I believe in us and our future. They sat in silence, enjoying the moment of peace and faith in the bright future they would build together. Chapter 9, Meeting New Friends. As they traveled the world, Naruto and Mahiru continued to look for opportunities to help people and explore new places. One clear day, with the sun shining brightly and the birds singing, they headed to a small village located on a picturesque hill. The village was surrounded by green fields and orchards, and its inhabitants looked friendly and hospitable. Meeting with the travel group. When Naruto and Mahiru arrived at the village, they noticed a group of travelers gathering around a large fire, preparing for the evening meal. The group consisted of 5 people, 2 men and 3 women, each with unique skills and characteristics. One of the men, tall and muscular with a short dark beard, noticed Naruto and Mahiru and walked up to them with a warm smile. Hello! He exclaimed. I'm Rin and this is my team. We travel the world to learn more about people and help those who need help. And who are you? Naruto smiled back, extending his hand for a handshake. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and this is Mahiru Shiina. We also travel to help people and explore new places. Nice to meet you. Mahiru nodded, her blue eyes shining with kindness. Hello. We are also glad to meet you. What are your plans for the near future? Rin invited Naruto and Mahiru to sit by the fire and they began to discuss their goals and plans. General adventure. Rin and his team explained their plans to map ancient routes and explore forgotten ruins. They invited Naruto and Mahiru to join them in this project, believing that working together would help them achieve more. We plan to explore the ancient ruins in the east, Rin explained. These places hold ancient secrets, and we want to help the locals restore their cultural heritage. Naruto and Mahiru discussed the offer and decided to join Rin's team, seeing it as an opportunity to not only help people, but also learn more about the world and its history. That sounds like an interesting adventure, Naruto said. We'd be happy to join you and help with this project. Rin and his team were delighted and invited Naruto and Mahiru to dinner. They spent the evening talking about their travels, sharing stories and plans for the future. Soon, a friendly conversation began between everyone, and Naruto and Mahiru felt like they had found new friends. Collaboration. The next day, Naruto and Mahiru set out with Rin's team towards the ancient ruins. The road was long and winding, but the travelers enjoyed every moment, discussing plans and stopping to rest. Along the way they came across many interesting places, ancient bridges, mountain streams and picturesque fields. In one of these places they stopped for lunch, enjoying the views and cooking food over a fire. This place is simply amazing, Mahiru said, looking at the surrounding nature. I'm glad that we are traveling together and can explore such beautiful parts of the world. Rin smiled, tearing a piece of bread from his stash. Yes, the world is full of amazing places and adventures. But besides traveling, we also try to help those who need our help. We can all make the world a little better. After lunch, they continued their journey to the ruins, discussing how they would work together to explore and preserve the ancient monuments. Exploring ancient ruins. When they arrived at the ruins, they were met with a majestic structure covered in moss and surrounded by wild nature. The ruins were part of an ancient temple that had been destroyed by time and natural disasters. Here we are, Rin said. We will need to study these ruins to see how we can restore and preserve them. Armed with tools and knowledge, Naruto and Mahiru set to work. They assisted Rin's team in clearing away rubble, researching ancient writings, and collecting artifacts. Mahiru used her celestial powers to restore the ruined parts of the temple and cleanse the pollution, while Naruto assisted in research and organization. Discoveries and problems. During their work, they made several interesting discoveries. Mahiru discovered a hidden room under one of the main halls of the temple, which contained ancient manuscripts and artifacts. "Look what I found," she exclaimed, holding the ancient manuscripts in her hands. These manuscripts may contain information about the ancient rituals and history of this place. Rin carefully studied the manuscripts and began to decipher their texts. "This is incredible," he said, his voice full of excitement. "These texts can help us restore the temple and understand its historical significance." At the same time, they encountered some problems. One of these problems was heavy rain, which flooded part of the ruins and made their work difficult. "We need to find a way to protect the ruins from the water and continue our work," Rin said, looking around the flooded room. Mahiru used her powers to create a barrier that would protect the ruins from the rain and help keep them in good condition. "I can create a protective barrier that will keep out the water," she suggested. "That will help us continue working even when it rains." With its help, they were able to continue research and restoration despite adverse weather conditions. Relationships and friendship. After a long day of work, as night fell on the ruins, Naruto, Mahiru, and Rin's team gathered their things and sat around the fire. In the warm light of the fire, they shared their experiences and talked about their plans for the future. "I'm glad we were able to work together," Naruto said. "The experience was very valuable for both of us." Mahiru nodded, her face glowing with an inner light. "Yes, I am also glad that we found such wonderful people with whom we can work and grow together." Rin and his team thanked Naruto and Mahiru for their help and expressed their hope for further cooperation. "I hope this isn't the last time our paths cross," Rin said. "We can learn a lot from each other." Talking about the future. At the end of the evening, Naruto and Mahiru sat by the fire, watching the stars that had begun to twinkle in the sky again. The silence of the night was filled with peace and tranquility after a busy day. "We've accomplished a lot today," Naruto said, his voice full of satisfaction. "We've helped people, made new discoveries, and made new friends." Mahiru smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. "Yes, it was a wonderful adventure. I feel like our journey is just beginning and there are many more interesting events ahead." Naruto hugged her and they sat in silence, enjoying the moment and thinking about the future they would build together. "Yes, our future will be bright," he said. "And I am sure that we can make this world a better place together." Mahiru nodded, her gaze full of determination. "Yes, together we can cope with any difficulties and overcome any obstacles. I believe in us and our future." They continued to sit by the fire, enjoying the peace of the night and feeling each other's support and friendship. Chapter 10, Deep Conversations. After weeks of traveling and helping people, Naruto and Mahiru decided to make a short stop at a picturesque gorge located at the foot of a mountain. In this quiet place, surrounded by green trees and babbling streams, they set up camp for the night. They sat by the fire, watching the evening sky turn golden and orange as the sun set. Night was already beginning to fall, and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, creating an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. Mahiru sat cross-legged on the grass, lost in her thoughts, while Naruto, who had settled on a rock by the fire, watched the flames. Philosophical question. Naruto looked at Mahiru and noticed that she seemed to be deep in thought. He decided to start a conversation that had been bothering him for a long time. Mahiru, Naruto began, I always think about what real strength is. Can you tell me what strength means to you? What makes it real? Mahiru smiled slightly, her eyes reflecting the light of the stars as she looked at Naruto with warmth. True strength, she began, is not just physical might or the ability to defeat an enemy. It is the ability to protect those you love and help those who need support. Strength is being a support for others and inspiring them to do better. Naruto, a little surprised by her answer, thought about her words. But isn't strength about defeating enemies and overcoming obstacles? Mahiru nodded. Yes, physical strength is important, but it is only a part of true strength. The greatness of strength is shown in how we use it to make the world a better place. True strength is the ability to protect your loved ones and be a source of hope for those in need. Discussion of the meaning of power. Naruto began to process her words, his gaze directed towards the fire. When I was younger, I thought that becoming Hokage meant being the strongest shinobi. I wanted to prove to everyone that I could be great. But as time went on, I realized that true strength is not only about victories on the battlefield. Mahiru continued the conversation, her voice soft and encouraging. Yes, and this is an important realization. Being Hokage is not just about holding a title, it means taking care of your village, protecting its people and doing everything possible to make them happy. Naruto nodded, his thoughts deepening. I want to create a world without wars and suffering. I want people to be able to live in peace and harmony. But I am still looking for the best way to achieve this goal. Mahiru looked at Naruto with genuine interest. Have you already found something that could help you on this path? Naruto thought for a moment. I have learned that even small actions can change the world. Helping people, being there in difficult times, these are also important steps towards creating a better world. But sometimes I feel that this is not enough. Mahiru touched his hand softly. You have already done a lot of good, and it does not go unnoticed. It is important to remember that even the smallest actions can have a huge impact. Deep thoughts on life and the future. Naruto looked at Mahiru, his eyes full of gratitude for her support. I am glad that I can discuss these issues with you. Your words give me new perspectives and strength to move forward. Mahiru smiled, her eyes shining with an inner light. I am also glad that I can be here with you and help you in your thoughts and goals. We both seek meaning in our actions, and this makes our journey special. The night wore on and they sat in silence, letting the stars and the fire speak for them. Their conversations and reflections sharpened their understanding of each other and deepened their connection. Joint reflections on the future. After a moment of silence, Naruto turned to Mahiru. How do you see your future? How do you see your role in this world? Mahiru looked back at the stars and became lost in her thoughts. I want to continue helping people and find my way to bring light and hope to this world. I hope that I can stay here and help those who need it until I fulfill my mission. Naruto nodded. I believe that you will find your way and be able to make the world a better place. We are both looking for our goals, and I am sure that together we can achieve them. Mahiru hugged Naruto, her voice full of confidence and warmth. Yes, together we can overcome any difficulties and make the world a brighter place. They continued to sit by the fire, their hearts full of hope and faith in the future. The stars twinkled above them, reflecting the light of their hopes and dreams. Chapter 11, Memories of the Past. Evening had come, and Naruto and Mahiru settled down by the fire in the forest, at the edge of a small clearing. The sky was veiled in a soft dark veil of night, and the stars shone brighter than ever. A gentle breeze whispered through the leaves of the trees, creating a cozy atmosphere for an evening conversation. They sat next to each other, their shoulders touching, the firelight playing on their faces. That evening, Naruto decided to learn more about Mahiru and her past. Opening of the heart. Naruto looked at Mahiru with genuine interest. Mahiru, I've heard about your mission as an angel many times, but I'd like to know more about what happened before that. How did you become an angel? What was your past like? Mahiru froze slightly, her gaze becoming focused as if she was searching for words to say a complex story. She slowly turned to Naruto, her eyes shining in the firelight, expressing a mixture of sadness and determination. My past was full of trials and hardships, she began, her voice thick with emotion. I was born into a world that suffered greatly from darkness and misfortune. My name was Rin, and I lived in a small village where people faced poverty and illness on a daily basis. Rin's past. Mahiru looked at the flames of the fire, her voice becoming softer and more melancholic. I was one of those who tried to help others. I often visited the sick and helped people as best I could. At one point, when I was only 14 years old, my village was destroyed by an evil entity that came from the darkness. I lost everything I had, my family, my home, my friends. Naruto was shocked by what he heard. He remembered his own losses and trials, but Mahiru's story was even more tragic. It must have been terrible, he said sympathetically. How did you cope with it? Mahiru nodded. At that moment I was full of grief and despair. But in the deepest darkness I found light. I saw a vision that changed my life. In this vision I met a higher being who offered me the opportunity to become an angel and help those who suffer. Transformation into an angel. Mahiru continued, her voice becoming more confident as she described her transformation. I accepted this gift because I wanted to find meaning in my pain and do something good in the world. I left my past behind and set out on a journey that led me to your village. My mission as an angel is to bring light and hope to those who suffer, and I sought out people who needed my help. Naruto listened to her story with respect, feeling deep admiration for her determination and resilience. You've done so much good despite your own suffering, he said. It's truly incredible. I'm proud to be with you. Mahiru smiled, her eyes sparkling with tears, but they were tears of joy. Thank you, Naruto. It was hard for me to open up to you, but I feel like you deserve to know my story. You've experienced a lot of suffering yourself and you were able to become someone who protects others. There's something special about that. Deepening the connection. Naruto stood up and walked closer to Mahiru, sitting down next to her on the grass. He placed his hand on her shoulder in a supportive gesture. I don't know what it's like to be an angel, but I know you've done a lot for others. Your story inspires me to continue my own efforts to create a better world. Mahiru touched his hand, her voice full of gratitude. You yourself are a symbol of hope for many people. I am glad that I can be with you on this journey. We are both looking for ways to bring light into this world. Sharing thoughts on the future. In the silence of the night they sat close to each other, allowing themselves to rest from the worries and thoughts of the day. I believe that our journey together will make us stronger, Mahiru continued. You've already accomplished a lot, and together we can achieve even more. Naruto looked at her with determination in his eyes. Yes, together we can overcome any difficulties and move towards our goals. I am sure that our future will be bright, and we will be able to make the world a better place. They sat in silence, looking at the stars and thinking about the future. At this moment, their hearts were filled with hope and confidence that their combined efforts would lead to a brighter future. Chapter 12, Dark Times. Konoha was as silent as ever, but there was a sense of unease in the air. The moon slowly rose above the horizon, illuminating the village with a cold light, as if nature itself sensed the approaching danger. Naruto and Mahiru stood at the edge of the village, their faces full of determination and readiness for the challenges ahead. Harbinger of trouble. Naruto and Mahiru met at the foot of a large tree, which had once served as a place for them to have quiet conversations. Now it had become a symbol of their affection for each other and their shared journey. I heard news that dark forces have begun to gather in the world, Naruto said, his voice serious and determined. We must be prepared for any threat that may arise. Mahiru nodded, her blue eyes sparkling with determination. They not only showed her readiness to fight, but also a deep understanding of the importance of the battle ahead. Yes, Naruto. We see the signs of darkness that have begun to spread across the world. Our task is to stop them before they cause harm to our home and the world as a whole. Mahiru looked at Naruto, her voice full of confidence and strength. I am ready to use my heavenly powers to defend and strengthen our attacks. In this battle, we must combine all our powers. Preparations for battle. They gathered their friends and allies, preparing for the coming battle. The evening was full of activity as the Konoha ninja gathered at headquarters to discuss strategy. Everyone around them was tense, their faces reflecting the seriousness of the upcoming battle. Naruto stood in front of his comrades, his eyes full of determination. We must unite to protect Konoha from this darkness, he said, his voice full of inspiration. Each of us has an important role to play, and I believe that together we can overcome any difficulties. Battle strategy. Naruto and Mahiru were strategizing with the other ninja. Mahiru explained how she could use her powers to enhance their attacks and create defensive barriers. I can create protective domes that will protect us from dark attacks. I can also use my heavenly powers to strengthen our attacks and give you additional support in battle, she said, her voice calm and confident. Kakashi, Sakura, and the other allies listened attentively to Mahiru, their expressions showing that they understood the importance of her role in the upcoming battle. We will prepare tactical positions and define our objectives, Kakashi added. Each of us must be prepared for any situation. Our task is to prevent the enemy from breaking through to the center of the village. The night before the battle. As evening fell over Konoha, Naruto and Mahiru found a secluded spot on the edge of the village where they could talk in peace and quiet before the upcoming battle. Naruto, don't worry about us failing, Mahiru said, her hands shaking slightly, but her voice was warm and supportive. We've prepared as best we can, and now all we have to do is take action. Naruto looked at her, his eyes full of determination. You're right. We've done everything we can to prepare for this moment. We have to trust each other and believe in ourselves. He took her hand, his touch supportive and warm. We'll get through this together. Mahiru looked at his hand, wrapping her palms around it. Yes, together we can overcome any darkness. I believe in us. The battle begins. The next day, as the first rays of the sun illuminated Konoha, the dark forces began their attack. Black clouds covered the sky, creating an oppressive atmosphere before the battle began. Naruto and Mahiru stood at the forefront, their team led by Kakashi and Sakura. With every step they took, they were getting closer to the battlefield where their enemies were waiting. The forces of darkness had already begun their advance, and the air was filled with ominous energy. Go! Naruto shouted, his voice full of determination and passion. Mahiru activated her powers, her hands shooting up into the sky, causing a glow to illuminate the battlefield. The heavenly powers began to take effect, creating barriers that protected the ninja from enemy attacks and enhanced their own attacks. We're with you, Naruto. Mahiru shouted, her voice full of strength and confidence. Fighting the darkness. The battle began. Naruto fought the enemies using his skills and abilities, and Mahiru created protective domes and strengthened the attacks of her allies. Their interaction was harmonious and effective. Mahiru used her heavenly powers to heal the wounded and protect the team. Don't retreat. Naruto shouted as he dealt a powerful blow to the enemies. We must win for our peace. The dark forces tried to break through the protective barriers and disrupt the order, but Mahiru's efforts and the tenacity of the Konoha ninja allowed them to hold the line. With each strike and counterattack, they fought the dark creatures, bravely defending their home. Victory and silence. The battle lasted for a long time, but eventually the dark forces began to retreat. Konoha was victorious once again, although it was not an easy victory. The battlefield was devastated and many of the allies were wounded, but victory was achieved. Naruto and Mahiru stood at the edge of the battlefield, their faces tired but satisfied. "We did it," Naruto said, his voice full of weariness, but also pride. "Thank you, Mahiru. Your strength was decisive in this battle." Mahiru smiled despite her fatigue. "We did it together. Our strength and faith in each other made us stronger." They stood side by side, their hearts filled with gratitude for being able to face this danger together. They soon returned to Konoha to recover and begin a new journey, knowing that there were many more trials ahead. Secret conversation. After the battle, Naruto and Mahiru found a quiet place in Konoha to rest and discuss the future. "We have passed this test, but I feel that there are still many difficulties ahead of us," Naruto said, his eyes looking into the distance, where the stars began to twinkle in the night sky again. Mahiru took his hand. "Yes, new challenges await us ahead, but we will go through them together. With each challenge we become stronger." Naruto looked at her eyes, full of wisdom and hope. "I'm glad I can be with you on this journey. Together we can overcome any difficulties." Mahiru smiled, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Yes, together we can overcome any dark times and find the way to a bright future." They sat in silence, allowing themselves to rest a little after the battle, their hearts filled with hope and determination to move on despite all the trials that lay ahead. Chapter 13, Risk and Sacrifice. The skies above Konoha. Night fell over Konoha like a black velvet blanket, shimmering with stars. The moon illuminated the ruined streets and shattered buildings left behind by the last battle. The silence was deep and oppressive, broken only by the faint whisper of the wind, which seemed to lull the village to sleep in anticipation of the next test. Naruto and Mahiru stood on the outskirts of the battlefield, their clothes rumpled and dirty, their faces radiating fatigue. In this silence, Naruto felt that something was wrong, and his heart was clenched with anxiety. The moment of the coming test. Mahiru, despite her celestial powers, was seriously injured in the last battle. Her usual invisible aura now looked dim, and every step she took was difficult. "Mahiru, we need to find a safe place," Naruto said, his voice filled with concern. "We need to find a healer or something to help you heal." Mahiru, trying to hide her pain, only smiled and shook her head slightly. "I can't stay like this for long," she replied, her voice quiet but determined. "But first I want to talk to you. There are things I need to say." Search for salvation. Naruto carefully supported Mahiru, their steps slow and deliberate. There weren't many people in the city, and the emptiness of the streets only added to the atmosphere of anxiety. They found shelter in one of the remaining buildings, where they could rest for a while and assess the current situation. "Naruto," Mahiru began, her voice weak but her gaze full of tenderness, "I know that my mission here is not endless. I must return to heaven when my work is done." Naruto looked at her, his eyes filled with bitterness. "Don't say that, Mahiru. We'll get through this together. I don't want to think about what might happen to you." Mahiru reached out to his hand, her touch was subtle but full of emotion. "I always believed that our time together was not just a coincidence. I found in you the support and love that I had been looking for a long time." Her eyes filled with tears. "I want you to know that I am happy that I was able to be with you at this time." Word of consolation. Naruto sat carefully next to Mahiru, trying to find a way to help her. He was going to find a healer or something that could help, but the dark forces left no time to search. "Mahiru, I promise I'll do my best to make sure you're okay," he said, his voice full of determination. "I won't leave you, no matter what happens." Mahiru smiled weakly, her hand reaching out to his face. There's no need to cry or be afraid. I believe in you, Naruto. You can make the world a better place, even if I can't be by your side in the future. Fighting the darkness. Naruto decided to act decisively. He knew that if Mahiru could not get medical help, her condition could worsen. He soon returned with some herbs and remedies that he could find at the pharmacy. I'll try my best to help you, Naruto said, his hands shaking with tension as he began to treat Mahiru's wounds. Mahiru closed her eyes, her face was calm, but it was clear that she was on the edge of her strength. You have always been my light in this world. I am happy that I can be with you in these moments, she said, her voice full of gratitude. Miracle of healing. Naruto used his knowledge and skills to do everything he could to help Mahiru. He used healing techniques and did everything he could to ease her pain. At that moment, Mahiru touched his hand. Naruto, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. Your efforts and your strength will always be my inspiration. Naruto looked at her, his eyes full of determination and pain. I won't let you go, Mahiru. We still have a lot to do together. We will win, and you will return to normal. I will fight until the end. Night of Memories. Time passed and the night continued to envelop Konoha. Naruto and Mahiru sat in silence, broken only by the occasional sounds of the outside world. Time was slow and heavy, but they used it to share memories and hopes. Do you remember how we met? Mahiru asked, her voice barely audible, like the faint whisper of the wind. Naruto nodded, his gaze directed towards distant space. Yes, I remember. Ever since I saw you on the bridge, I knew there was something special in my life. You helped me see the world differently. Mahiru closed her eyes, her smile filled with happiness and sadness at the same time. You have become the light I have been looking for. I hope that even if I cannot be with you in the future, you will continue to move forward with the strength and determination that I have seen in you. Aftermath and New Beginnings. In the morning, as the first rays of the sun shone through the window, Mahiru's condition began to improve thanks to Naruto's efforts and determination. They both knew that new trials and tribulations lay ahead, but their bond had grown even stronger thanks to that night. Naruto looked at her, his eyes full of determination and love. We have survived this together. And this is only the beginning of our journey. We will continue to walk together, despite everything that awaits us. Mahiru touched his hand, her eyes shining with gratitude and hope. Yes, together we can overcome any challenges. I believe in us. Preparing for the new way. Slowly, the forces of darkness began to retreat, and Konoha began to rebuild once again. Naruto and Mahiru prepared for the next stage of their journey. They knew that new challenges and tasks lay ahead, but their bond and love became their mainstay. Chapter 14, Recovery and Consolation. Return to Konoha. The warm morning light was breaking through the clouds, and the first rays of the sun softly illuminated the ruined streets of Konoha. The city was slowly coming back to life, and amidst this restoration, Naruto and Mahiru walked through the quiet streets, their steps slow and careful. They were exhausted from the last battle, but their hearts were filled with gratitude for having survived this ordeal. Upon returning to Konoha. Around them, Konoha was coming alive. The villagers greeted Naruto and Mahiru with respect and gratitude. Workers and villagers helped rebuild the ruined buildings, and children played in the streets, their laughter a reminder that life went on. Mahiru and Naruto headed to one of the remaining houses where they could rest and recuperate. It was quiet and cozy inside, the fire in the fireplace filled the room with a warm light. Moments of peaceful rest. Naruto and Mahiru sat next to each other by the fireplace. Naruto took out some fruits and water to refresh himself a bit after the long days of fighting. He looked at Mahiru carefully, who seemed a bit tired, but her eyes still glowed with an inner light. We were able to overcome this ordeal, Naruto said, his voice filled with relief and weariness. We returned home, and Konoha is recovering. Mahiru sighed, her gaze focused on the dancing flames in the fireplace. Yes, we did, she agreed, her voice soft but filled with deep gratitude. It was a difficult test, but I believe we got through it thanks to our mutual trust and support. Recovery and support. Naruto looked at Mahiru with a gentle smile. He felt that this moment was not only a time to rest, but also a time to rethink everything they had experienced together. You know, I've been thinking about how we became a team, he said, running his finger gently down her arm. Our strength and determination got us through tough times. But I've also realized that it was your support and love that made me stronger. Mahiru looked at him, her eyes full of gratitude and warmth. Your love and determination were a source of strength for me, too, she said, her voice full of sincerity. I felt like I could overcome any difficulties knowing that you were by my side. They froze in that moment, feeling each other's comfort and support. This moment of peace and quiet was like a gift that they both appreciated after all the difficulties they had experienced. Talking about the future. As time went on, talk of the future began to take center stage in their conversations. Naruto and Mahiru sat at the table, and their conversations became more open and in-depth. I'm thinking about the future, Naruto said, looking at Mahiru with hope in his eyes. After everything we've been through, I realize that I want to do more for the world. I want to become Hokage and create a world where people can live happily and in peace. Mahiru took his hand, her eyes shining with pride and support. I believe you will achieve your goal, she said, her voice full of confidence. Your strength and determination have already done much for Konoha and for all of us. I am proud to be able to stand by your side on this journey. The power of love and support. They spent the evening discussing their dreams and plans, their conversations filled with hope and love. Mahiru shared her thoughts on the importance of helping others and being kind, even when the world seems dark. There is much suffering in this world, she said, her voice full of compassion. But I believe that love and kindness can light the darkness. Naruto nodded, his eyes full of determination and inspiration. I believe in it too. We can make the world a better place if we work together and support each other. Rest and recovery. Night came and silence filled the house. Naruto and Mahiru went to bed, their hearts full of hope and love. This evening was a time to renew and strengthen their bonds, which was necessary after all the trials they had to endure. They hugged and Naruto whispered words of comfort that reflected his deep feelings. We will cope with everything that awaits us. We will move forward, supporting each other. Mahiru pressed herself against him, her voice full of tenderness and trust. Yes, together we can overcome any challenges. I believe in us and our future. Light of hope. With the dawn, they awoke with renewed strength and determination. The rebuilding of Konoha continued, and with it, a new stage of their journey began. They knew that many difficulties lay ahead, but their bond and love became a source of strength and hope for them. Chapter 15, Planning for the Future. Introduction to the Breakneck Future. The morning in Konoha was especially quiet and peaceful. It was the perfect time to reflect and plan for the future. Naruto and Mahiru decided to spend the morning together in a secluded corner of Konoha that they had found for themselves, a small garden shaded by thick trees and filled with flowers that had just bloomed after the rain. Garden of Fairy Tale Dreams. The grass was covered with drops of morning dew that sparkled in the sun. Mahiru was sitting on a soft blanket spread out under a large cherry blossom tree. Naruto was sitting next to her, their hands were intertwined. There was a realm of calm around them, and this was the perfect moment to look into the future. Mahiru carefully plucked a petal from one of the flowers and looked at it, her eyes full of thought. We've been through a lot together, she began, her voice warm and peaceful. Now it's time to think about what comes next. Naruto sighed, his eyes searching for inspiration in the natural scene before him. Yes, I have thought a lot about the future, he said, his voice full of determination. I want to create a place where people will be safe and happy. A place where everyone can live in peace, without fear and hatred. Dreams and intentions. Mahiru looked at Naruto carefully, her eyes sparkling with respect and love. That's a great goal, she said, her voice full of encouragement. But to achieve it, we need to develop a plan that will allow us to realize our dreams. Naruto nodded, his gaze focused but with a glimmer of hope in it. I've been thinking about how to make Konoha even better, he continued. Not just as a place where people live, but as a symbol of hope and restoration for all who need help. Mahiru picked up the small book she had brought with her. It was filled with her thoughts and ideas on how to improve the world around them. She opened the page and began sharing her notes with Naruto. Planning a dream. Here are some ideas I wrote down, Mahiru said, her fingers brushing the pages of the book. We could set up an outreach program for those who have suffered losses, set up schools for children where they can learn not only martial arts but also wisdom and compassion. Naruto studied her notes, his eyes searching for something that could help him realize his dreams. That sounds great, he said. We could create a support center for the people of Konoha, where people could find help in difficult times. Schools and training for children could give them hope and prepare them for the future. Mahiru smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. We could also work on strengthening relationships between the different villages, she suggested. This would help create closer ties and provide support in the event of new threats. Creating a plan. They continued to discuss their ideas, creating a detailed plan for their future. Their conversations were filled with enthusiasm and inspiration. Here is what they discussed. Support Center. Organizing a group of volunteers and professionals who could help those who have experienced tragedies. Creating a space for meetings and support, where people could discuss their problems and find comfort. Schools and education. Opening new schools for children where they are taught not only martial arts, but also skills that will help them become wise and compassionate leaders. Introducing courses on developing personal qualities such as empathy, honesty, and mutual assistance. Strengthening connections. Organizing meetings and exchanges between villages to improve relations and work together. Creating agreements for mutual support and assistance in case of threats. Support and plans for the future. As their discussions came to an end, Naruto and Mahiru sat holding hands and looking at the sunset that was gradually covering the world in golden light. We'll start small, Naruto said, his voice full of determination, but step by step, we'll move towards our goal. Mahiru squeezed his hand, her eyes full of love and confidence. I believe in us, she said. We can achieve our dreams if we work together and support each other. New hope and the beginning of the journey. At that moment, they realized that their dreams and plans were not just ideas, but real goals that they would strive for. Together, they saw a way forward and were ready to begin a new journey to make the world a better place. As night fell, they headed back to Konoha, their hearts full of hope and determination. Their plans were just the beginning, and they knew there was still much work and trials ahead. But now they were ready to face them together. Chapter 16, Creating a New Home. Introduction to a New Stage. Several weeks had passed since Naruto and Mahiru had made their plans for the future. Summer had reached its peak, and Konoha was covered in green leaves and bright flowers that were a joy to behold. The city was once again filled with the sounds of life, the laughter of children, the hurried footsteps of the inhabitants, and the pleasant aromas of fresh produce. Naruto and Mahiru were standing at the site of what had once been an abandoned building, the location they had chosen for their new project, to create a home for those who needed help and support. Beginning of work. Mahiru stood on a small hill, looking at the devastation in front of her. The warm wind playing with her white hair. Naruto walked up to her and placed his hand on her shoulder, his eyes full of determination. We will start small and together we will make our world a better place, Mahiru said, her voice full of inspiration and hope. Naruto nodded, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Yes, this will be our first step towards creating a new world. We can't do everything at once, but we can start with this. Let's do it together. They looked at each other and felt their hearts fill with warmth from their shared purpose. They had a lot of work ahead of them, but they were ready to take on the challenge. Planning and preparation. During the first few days, they spent time preparing. Naruto and Mahiru met with local architects and builders to discuss how best to use the space. They planned out what the building would look like and what rooms it would contain. Mahiru arranged the drawings and notes on the table, her eyes focused on the details. We need this place to be not only functional, but also cozy, she said. We need to create a space where people can feel safe and comfortable. Naruto looked over the blueprints, his thoughts focused on how best to organize the interior space. We can create common rooms for meetings and support, and create private corners for those who need solitude, he suggested. In addition, we need to provide space for learning and study. Mahiru smiled and nodded. It's a great idea. I think it will become a place where people can not only find help, but also rebuild their lives. Construction and labor. When the physical work began, Naruto and Mahiru were active participants in the process. They took part in the construction, carrying materials, and managing the project themselves. It was a difficult and physically demanding stage, but they did it with joy and determination. Every morning they would start their day with a short meeting with the workers, discussing the plans for the day and assigning tasks. Then they would get to work. Naruto was not shy about working alongside the others, his energy and persistence inspiring everyone around him. Mahiru often served food and drinks to the workers, her presence brought comfort and joy. She maintained an atmosphere of friendliness and optimism. Home construction. The work was in full swing. Simple tasks like clearing the area and pouring the foundation were followed by more complex stages like building walls, laying the floor, and installing windows. Naruto and Mahiru spent a lot of time at the construction site, discussing details and making sure everything was going according to plan. One day, when they were installing themselves in the window frames together, Naruto looked at Mahiru thoughtfully. It's very difficult work, but I feel like we're doing something important, he said. Mahiru stopped and looked at him, her eyes full of warmth. I feel it too, she said. This is not just the construction of a building, this is the creation of a new home for those who need help. It is a symbol of our love and desire for a better world. First results. Little by little, the building began to take on the appearance of a home. The spacious rooms filled with furniture, and it began to feel like the place was ready to receive people. Soon it was time for the first check of the premises' readiness. Naruto and Mahiru stood at the entrance of the building, looking at its renovated walls and newly installed furniture, satisfaction in their eyes for the work done. We did it, Naruto said, his voice full of pride. Mahiru hugged him, her eyes shining with happiness. Yes, this is our first step towards a great future, she said. I am proud that we are doing this together. Opening of the house. When the house was ready, they held a small opening ceremony. Locals, as well as Naruto and Mahiru's friends and allies, gathered for the opening. The entrance to the building was decorated with flowers and ribbons, and the atmosphere was filled with joy and anticipation. Naruto and Mahiru stood in front of the entrance, their faces lit up with happiness. Naruto addressed the assembled people. We are pleased to introduce this place to you, he said. This home is for those in need, and we hope it will become a symbol of hope and restoration for all. Mahiru added. We want this place to become a home for those who are looking for support and a new start. We will be glad to see here everyone who needs warmth and care. New beginning. With the opening of the house, a new chapter began in Naruto and Mahiru's lives. This house was the beginning of their new mission, to create a better world for everyone. They continued to work on their plans and dreams, building a future where they could live together and help others. Chapter 17, Thunder and the Sky. Introduction to Thunder. One day in Konoha, as the calm of the night enveloped the village, a low rumble broke the silence, like an approaching storm. The sky darkened, and thunderclouds swirled in the air, blocking out the sun and swallowing up the light. A storm no one knew about was approaching Konoha, and its presence felt like a harbinger of disaster. Naruto and Mahiru stood at the edge of the village, looking at the mesmerizing yet threatening sight that unfolded before them. The wind whistled through the trees, and lightning occasionally tore through the darkness, lighting up the sky. Preparing for the battle. Naruto turned to Mahiru, his face reflecting determination and readiness for the upcoming battle. "We are prepared for any danger," he said, his voice full of confidence and determination. "If this storm brings a threat to our home, we must stop it." Mahiru looked at him and felt her heart fill with pride and love. "Yes, we will. Our cooperation and our love make us stronger than any challenge we may face," she said, her voice soft and confident. She raised her hand to the sky, and her eyes glowed a soft blue. It was a signal that they should be prepared for the coming storm, both physically and mentally. Threat detection. As Naruto and Mahiru looked out to the horizon, they noticed dark shapes beginning to emerge from the storm. These weren't just clouds or shadows, but actual beings, like demons or dark spirits lurking in the shadows of the storm. "These creatures aren't just a product of the storm," Naruto noted as he watched their movements. "They came here with the intention of destroying everything in their path." Mahiru concentrated her powers and her eyes gleamed with readiness to fight. "We must act quickly to prevent destruction. I will try to protect Konoha and strengthen your strength in battle," she said. Preparing for battle. They went to the heart of the village, where the enemy attack was beginning. Mahiru created protective barriers that surrounded Konoha, blocking the path of the dark creatures. Their energy was directed to strengthen the defensive magic lines and create a protective cocoon around the main buildings of the village. Naruto, in his battle form, deployed his prodigious chakra field, preparing to engage in battle. He used his powers to summon several of his strongest jutsus and prepared to attack. "Let's not waste time," he said, his hands already beginning to form seals. "The storm is getting closer, and if we don't act now, it may already be too late." Mahiru touched his hand with a smile. "You're ready, Naruto. I believe in us, as always. Together, we can overcome any storm." Fighting the dark forces. As they entered battle, a real thunderstorm began. Dark creatures attacked the protective barriers and lightning flashed across the battlefield. Mahiru created powerful energy shields and used her heavenly powers to heal the wounded and strengthen Naruto's attacks. Naruto charged into battle with fury and determination, tearing through the ranks of the dark creatures with his attacks. His kunai and chakra attacks swept through the dark shadows, and he sought to destroy each enemy with no effort. Mahiru, focused and calm, controlled the barriers and supported Naruto with her healing spells. Her energies glowed like bright stars, creating protective fields and repelling dark forces. "Naruto, on the left!" she shouted as the dark creatures began to attack from the flank. Naruto turned around and activated the Shadow Clone Jutsu, creating an army of duplicates of himself to repel the attack. His team fought side by side, repelling the enemy's blows and continuing the fight. Climax of the fight. The battle reached its climax when one of the main enemies, a powerful dark spirit, emerged from the shadow of the storm, its appearance like a huge dark shadow, shrouded in lightning and darkness. It carried within itself a destructive force capable of crushing entire villages. "This will be our hardest test," Naruto said, preparing for the final stage of the fight. Mahiru raised her hands to the sky and her heavenly powers flared brightly, creating a field of light around them. "We can handle this, Naruto. You know that we are united not only by strength, but also by love, which gives us incredible power," she replied. She and Naruto combined their powers and a powerful attack came into play in the midst of the battle. Mahiru used her magical abilities to create a holy light that surrounded them and strengthened their attacks. Naruto focused all of his chakra into a Rasengan and aimed it at the dark spirit's heart. The energy flared into a bright light, illuminating the battlefield and tearing the darkness to pieces. Victory and consequences. With the final blow, the dark spirit was defeated, and the storm, as if responding to their victory, began to gradually weaken. The clouds dispersed, and rays of light broke through the cracks in the clouds again. Naruto and Mahiru stood among the ruins. Their bodies were tired, but their hearts were filled with a sense of accomplishment and joy from achieving their goal. "We did it," Naruto said, his voice full of relief. Mahiru touched his hand, her eyes shining with love and pride. "Yes, we did it together. It was a tough battle, but our love and strength overcame all obstacles," she said. After battle. As night fell upon Konoha once more, Naruto and Mahiru returned to their new home. They found a quiet spot under a tree where they sat, enjoying a moment of peace after a hectic day. "The storm is over and I think our world will be a little better now," Naruto said, his eyes watching the night sky. Mahiru looked at the stars, her eyes full of hope. "Yes, and I believe that we will continue to make the world a better place," she said, her voice full of peace. "With each trial, we become stronger and closer to our great future." They embraced, feeling each other's warmth, and felt that together they could overcome any obstacle. The light of love and hope burned in their hearts, ready to illuminate the path to the future. Chapter 18: The Battle for the Future. Introduction to the conflict. As a new dawn broke, an unprecedented crisis erupted over Konoha. The storm that had subsided during the previous battle had returned, but this time it brought not just rain and lightning, but an evil that could devour all that was bright in the world. Rumors of powerful enemies bent on destroying everything Naruto and Mahiru had strived to build began to spread among the villagers. Naruto and Mahiru stood on top of a hill, looking out over the horizon where dark clouds were gathering, preparing for another attack. Escalation of the threat. The sky above Konoha was shrouded in thick clouds, lightning tore through the darkness, illuminating dark figures that were beginning to appear on the horizon. Enormous creatures, twisted with evil and hatred, were moving towards the village. Their presence felt like a shadow over the brightest place. "We will not retreat," Naruto said, his eyes full of determination and confidence. "These enemies are trying to destroy everything we have built. We must protect our home and our world." Mahiru stood nearby, her eyes reflecting the light of the lightning, and her face expressing a calmness that no storm could eclipse. "Yes, Naruto. We will fight for our future and for those we love," she replied, her voice soft but full of inner strength. Preparing for the battle. Naruto and Mahiru returned to the village, where they began preparing for the most important battle of their lives. The enemy was already approaching, and time to prepare was limited. Naruto gathered a team of his friends and allies to discuss strategy. Planning a battle. Gathered in the main hall of the village. Naruto looked at his friends and teammates, all of them ready to fight, determined to protect their homeland. "These dark forces want to destroy everything we have built. But we cannot allow that to happen," Naruto began, his voice full of determination. "We will fight together, and our strength, friendship, and tenacity will help us win." Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke and the other team members were nearby, ready to help in the fight. Mahiru stood a little to the side, her hands emitting a soft light that had a calming effect on those around her. "We'll split our forces and defend key points in the village," Naruto continued. "I'll lead the charge to the front where the enemy is coming, and Mahiru will support us from behind, creating protective barriers and healing the wounded." Mahiru walked up to Naruto and her hands touched him, transmitting a flow of her heavenly energy. "I will make sure that your strength is at its maximum and that all those in need are supported," she said with a smile that suddenly transformed her face into an oasis of calm in the storms. Battle for Konoha. As the enemy began to advance, the entire village was thrown into chaos. Dark forces erupted from the depths of the night, their eerie cries mixing with the noise of battle. Naruto fought like never before, using his best techniques to hold back the enemy's onslaught. His Rasengan and Storm Release tore through the ranks of the dark creatures, disrupting their assault. Mahiru, meanwhile, focused on supporting Naruto and his friends. Her heavenly shields protected them from attacks, and her healing spells kept the fighters strong. Beams of her heavenly magic pierced the darkness, creating a light that repelled evil and brought hope to the hearts of every warrior. Naruto, on the left, she shouted, directing his attention to the new threat. Naruto turned around and activated shadow clones, creating multiple copies of himself to distract the enemies and increase the power of his attack. Climax of the fight. The battle reached its climax when one of the most powerful enemies, the Dark Supreme Spirit, appeared on the battlefield. He was a colossal being of pure evil, his dark aura threatening to engulf everything around him. "This is our last enemy," Naruto said, looking at the giant enemy. "We must combine our forces to achieve victory." Mahiru concentrated all her magic and created a light dome that protected Naruto and his friends from the dark spirit's attacks. Her eyes sparkled with determination and she knew that this would be the decisive battle. Naruto and Mahiru combined their powers and their attacks focused on defeating the main enemy. Naruto activated the Wisdom of Wisdom and channeled its power into the Rasengan of Great Fury while Mahiru used her heavenly spells to strengthen the attack and protect them. The final strike. The light of their attacks blinded the enemy, and a powerful energy wave tore through the darkness. The Dark Supreme Spirit was thrown back, and its power began to melt under the onslaught of their combined forces. "We did it!" Naruto shouted, his voice full of joy and relief. Mahiru, her face sparkling with happiness, looked at Naruto, her eyes shining with pride. "Yes, we have overcome the darkness," she said, her voice full of satisfaction and love. Aftermath of the battle. When the battle was over, Konoha, although damaged, stood firm. The dark forces had been defeated, and the world began to rebuild itself once more. The storm that had threatened to engulf the village had receded, and the sun's rays had begun to appear over the horizon once more. Naruto and Mahiru stood on the ruins, their hands clasped together as they looked up at the restored sky. "We were able to protect our home," Naruto said, his voice filled with genuine happiness. Mahiru touched his cheek, her eyes full of tenderness and love. "Yes, and this is only the beginning of our journey," she answered. "We have defeated the darkness, but our future is just beginning." A new dawn. As dawn broke, Naruto and Mahiru sat on a hill, watching the sun rise. They discussed their plans for the future, their conversations filled with hopes and dreams of what they would build together. "We will continue our mission," Naruto said, his voice full of determination. "We will create a world where peace and love reign." Mahiru hugged him, her eyes looking into the future with confidence. "Yes, together we can make our world a better place," she said. Their hearts were filled with hope, and they knew that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 19, The Reward of Effort. Returning to Konoha. After the great battle for the future that made Konoha safe, Naruto and Mahiru returned to the village. The sky above the village was clear once again, and the first rays of the sun illuminated the streets, bathing them in a soft light. The city was full of life and joy after long days of fighting and danger. The people of Konoha had gathered many flower garlands and flags to celebrate the return of their heroes. The sounds of music and laughter echoed throughout the village, creating a truly festive atmosphere. Recognition and gratitude. When Naruto and Mahiru entered the center of the village, they were greeted with great joy and gratitude. People lined up to congratulate them and express their gratitude. "You saved us in our village," the Hokage said, walking up to them with a wide smile. "Without your courage and strength, we would not have been able to defeat the darkness." We are proud to have you as protectors of Konoha. Naruto, a little embarrassed by all the attention, blushed, but his eyes sparkled with happiness. We just did what needed to be done, he said, his voice full of modesty. Thank you all for your support and belief in us. Mahiru stood next to her, her eyes full of tenderness, and her heart fluttered from the warmth she felt from the people. We did this not only for ourselves, but for all of you, she said with a smile. This is our common triumph. Victory celebration. In the evening, after they had received all the congratulations and words of gratitude, Konoha held a celebratory feast in honor of Naruto and Mahiru. The guests were served delicious food and drinks, and the evening was filled with fun. Naruto and Mahiru sat at the head table, surrounded by friends and allies. We did it, Mahiru said, her voice full of joy and satisfaction. Naruto looked at her, his eyes reflecting the light from the lanterns illuminating the festival. Yes, we have overcome all the difficulties, and now we can enjoy this moment, he replied, his smile sparkling with happiness. Sakura, Sasuke and other friends joined them and they exchanged stories of the battle and laughed, remembering the difficult and funny moments from the past. Toast and wishes. When the feast reached its climax, the Hokage stood up to make a toast. Dear Naruto and Mahiru, he began, his voice full of pride, you have shown us that true strength lies not only in fighting skills, but also in love and loyalty. We are grateful for your courage and for making our world a safer place. All the guests raised their glasses as a sign of respect and recognition. For Naruto and Mahiru, the Hokage said. To Naruto and Mahiru, everyone present exclaimed, and the toast was met with loud applause. Mahiru smiled and touched Naruto's glass. We did this together, and this is our common success, she said. Naruto raised his glass in response and looked at her lovingly. Yes, and we will continue to work together to create a better future, he said. Secret moment. As the celebration reached its climax, Naruto and Mahiru found a quiet spot under the cherry blossoms where they could be alone and enjoy the peace after a busy day. The celebration was magnificent, Naruto said, looking up at the stars that were beginning to appear in the evening sky. Mahiru took his hand, her eyes full of warm light. Yes, it was unforgettable. But the most important thing is that we made the world a better place together, she said, her voice soft and gentle. Naruto clung to her, their hearts full of joy and satisfaction from the trials completed. Our future is just beginning, he said, his voice full of hope and optimism. Mahiru smiled and nodded. Yes, and I believe that together we can overcome any challenges that may arise on our way, she said. New plans. They sat in silence, enjoying the moment of peace under the starry sky, and began to discuss their plans for the future. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I know that together we can do it, Naruto said. Mahiru hugged him, her eyes shining with love and hope. I'm glad I can be by your side on this journey, she replied. Let's continue building the world we dream of together. Chapter 20, Eternal Happiness. Returning to Konoha. After a long and eventful journey, Naruto and Mahiru returned to Konoha to begin a new chapter in their lives. The secret place under the sakura tree became their favorite place, and they decided to spend this moment together to feel the depth and endurance of their love. The scene before them was soothing. The peace of the village was reflected in the peaceful surface of the river, and the stars in the sky, as if there were more of them than usual, twinkled, creating the illusion of infinity and boundlessness. Opening of a new beginning. Naruto and Mahiru walked through the familiar streets of Konoha, where they were met with smiles and looks of respect. They once again felt the warm light of their love illuminating their path. Welcome back to the home that will always be ours, Naruto said, looking at Mahiru with heart-filled eyes. Our future will be as bright as the stars in the sky. Mahiru looked at him with a gentle smile, her eyes reflecting the light of the stars like little gems. I believe that our love will become the light that will illuminate not only our future, but also the future of everyone who will be around us, she answered. Together we can create a world in which everyone can find their happiness. Creating a new home. In the center of Konoha, they began work on creating a new home for those in need. This home became a symbol of their love and their shared desire to make the world a better place. Construction was in full swing, and soon friends and villagers joined them to help in this noble cause. Every day they worked on the construction, and their work became a reflection of their desire for a better future. With every brick we build not just a house, but also our dream, Naruto said as he worked on the project. Mahiru worked by his side, her smile and support a source of strength for everyone involved in this project. This is not just a building. This is our legacy, our promise to make the world a better place, she added, her voice full of determination. New life in Konoha. When the new house was completed, Konoha held a grand opening. The villagers gathered to celebrate the important moment. Today we open a new home, Naruto said at the ceremony, his voice full of pride and happiness. This home will be a place for those in need of warmth and care, and we hope that it will become a symbol that together we can achieve great things. The people applauded, their faces full of joy and gratitude. Mahiru stood next to Naruto, her heart overflowing with pride for what they had done together. Epilogue: The Legend of Naruto and Mahiru. The story of Naruto and Mahiru became a legend in Konoha. People often told children about how Naruto, the fearless hero, and Mahiru, the angel from heaven, went through the darkness and found the light. Their love and courage became an inspiration to many. Their myth was passed down from generation to generation as a symbol of hope and faith in a better future. Tales of how they overcame all obstacles and helped their village became part of Konoha's history. Every year, on the day they returned to Konoha, the villagers would gather at their new home to remember their deeds and give thanks for what they had done. It was a day to celebrate peace and love, a day where everyone could feel a connection to the heroes and their dream of a brighter future. That's the end of my story.